Imagine two people. Both are intelligent. Both work long hours. Both are disciplined. Both believe in hard work. 10 years later, one is financially calm, secure, and free. The other is stressed, anxious, and still living paycheck to paycheck. Same effort, same intelligence, very different outcomes. So here's the uncomfortable question. If hard work and intelligence are enough, why do so many smart people still struggle financially? This story is probably familiar to you. You wake up early. You go to work. You give your best. You solve problems others can't. People even call you smart. And yet, at the end of the month, savings feel fragile, expenses feel heavy, and the future feels uncertain. You don't feel lazy. You don't feel careless. You feel tired. Tired of doing everything right and still feeling behind. And that creates a dangerous emotion, confusion. Because when effort doesn't lead to progress, the mind starts asking, what am I missing? Most people answer this question the wrong way. They assume, I need to work harder, I need another degree, I need more motivation. But what if the real problem is not effort? What if the problem is the story we were told about money itself? From a young age, we are taught a simple equation. Study hard, get a job, work hard, be successful. This formula worked once, in a different economy, with different rules. Today, many people follow this formula perfectly and still feel stuck. Why? Because money doesn't respond to effort the way school grades do. Money responds to behavior, time, patience, emotional control, and systems, not just intelligence. And this is where most smart people fall into a trap. Smart people are very good at solving immediate problems, optimizing tasks, and working harder when things go wrong. But money doesn't reward short-term optimization. It rewards long-term positioning. Here's the irony. The very traits that make someone successful at work can make them unsuccessful with MO.
Why? Because intelligence often creates overconfidence. Smart people think, I'll earn more later, I can fix this later, I understand money enough. And because of that, they delay saving, investing, and thinking long-term. This is not stupidity. This is human psychology. Economist and Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman spent decades studying decision-making. His research showed something disturbing. Humans are not rational with money, even highly intelligent ones. In fact, intelligence often makes people better at justifying bad financial decisions, not avoiding them. This insight changed modern economics and gave birth to behavioral finance, the study of how emotions, biases, and psychology shape financial outcomes. This is where your story really begins. Let's simplify this. Financial success is not about how much you know. It's about how you behave over time. Morgan Housel, author of The Psychology of Money, explains it clearly. Doing well with money has little to do with how smart you are, and a lot to do with how you behave. This is why highly educated people can go broke, and average people can quietly build wealth. The difference is not intelligence. The difference is emotional control and long-term behavior. So now we know, hard work is not enough. Intelligence is not enough. Which leads to a deeper, more uncomfortable question. If smart people fail financially because of psychology, what exactly is happening inside the human brain when money is involved? Why do we make decisions today that destroy our future tomorrow? That answer lies in how the brain is wired.
And that 1. We uncovered a painful truth. Hard work is not enough. Intelligence is not enough. Not because people are weak, but because money activates a part of the brain that does not care about logic. Now we go deeper. Because to understand why smart people fail financially, we must understand how the human brain reacts to money. And this is where things get uncomfortable. The most important idea in this video is that money is not just numbers. Money is security, survival, status, fear, and hope. And the human brain reacts to these things emotionally, not rationally. This is why financial decisions feel personal. This is why losses hurt more than gains feel good. This is why people panic, overspend, freeze, or delay. And none of this has anything to do with IQ. Psychologists often describe the human mind as having two systems. This idea comes from Nobel Prize winning research by Daniel Kahneman, explained in his book Thinking, Fast and Slow. System 1 is the fast brain, emotional, automatic, reactive, and designed for survival. System 2 is the slow brain, logical, analytical, effortful, and designed for reasoning. Here's the problem. Money decisions are usually made by System 1, even though we believe we are using System 2. You think you are calculating, but your brain is actually reacting. For most most of human history, money did not exist but scarcity did. Lack of food, lack of shelter, lack of safety. So the brain evolved to treat lack as danger. Today, money has replaced food as the symbol of survival. So when your bank balance feels low, your brain doesn't say, let's think long term. It says, we are unsafe. Act now. And when survival mode activates, patience disappears, long-term thinking collapses, and emotions take control. This happens to everyone, including highly intelligent people. One of the most important books ever written on this topic is Scarcity: Why Having Too Little Means So Much by Mullainathan and Shafir. Their research shows something shocking. Scarcity doesn't just limit resources, it reduces cognitive capacity. In simple words, when people feel they don't have enough money, their brain literally performs worse. IQ drops, focus narrows, and decision-making weakens. Not permanently, but temporarily. This means poverty is not just a lack of money, it is a lack of mental bandwidth. And that changes everything. Let's look at a common pattern. A smart, hardworking person earns decently but lives under constant financial pressure, feeling almost stable but never relaxed. Because of scarcity stress, they focus on immediate expenses, delay investing, and avoid long-term planning. Not because they don't understand it, but because their brain is overloaded. This creates a loop. Stress reduces long-term thinking, short-term decisions dominate, future problems increase, and stress increases again. This is not laziness, this is neuropsychology. Another powerful bias discovered by Kahneman and Tversky is loss aversion. The idea is simple. Losing $100 hurts about twice as much as gaining $100 feels good. This means people fear losses more than they desire gains, so fear becomes the dominant emotion in money decisions. So what do smart people do? They avoid investing because of fear, hold on to bad financial habits because they feel safe, and stay in jobs they hate because income feels predictable. This feels logical in the moment, but over time, it quietly destroys growth. Here's a counterintuitive truth. Smart people are often better at rationalizing emotional decisions. They don't say, I'm afraid. They say, this is a calculated choice. They don't say, I'm avoiding risk. They say, I'm being responsible. Intelligence becomes a lawyer, not a judge. It defends emotional decisions with logical language. This is why education alone does not fix financial problems. When people are under financial stress, they often spend on small comforts, gadgets, food, lifestyle upgrades, and short-term pleasures. This is not stupidity. Psychologists call this emotional regulation. The brain uses spending to reduce stress. But here's the tragedy. The very behavior used to cope with stress creates more financial stress later. Smart people know this intellectually, but under pressure, emotion beats knowledge. Think of your brain like a smartphone. When too many apps are running, the battery drains faster, performance drops, and important tasks slow down. Scarcity is like running 20 apps in the background. Even a powerful phone struggles. Even a smart brain struggles. Most financial advice focuses on discipline, control spending, be patient, stay consistent. But discipline is a limited resource. When life is stressful, discipline weakens and willpower collapses. That's why people relapse into bad habits, not because they are weak, but because discipline was never the solution. The real issue is not money. The real issue is identity under pressure. When people feel financially insecure, they start asking, who am I if I fail? What will people think? Am I falling behind? Money becomes tied to self-worth. And once that happens, decisions become emotional, comparisons increase, and anxiety controls behavior. This is where most financial mistakes are born. At this point, we know intelligence does not protect against bad financial behavior. Stress hijacks logic, scarcity reduces mental capacity, and fear dominates decision-making. Which leads to a powerful question. If the brain is wired this way, how do some people still escape the trap? Why do some individuals, not necessarily smarter, build calm, stable, long-term wealth? What are they doing differently? The answer is not hustle. The answer is not motivation. The answer lies in behavior patterns and quiet systems.
Up until now, this story has been uncomfortable because we exposed something most people don't want to hear. That failure doesn't come from being lazy, it comes from being psychologically predictable. But now the question changes. If smart, hardworking people silently fail, then who actually wins? And more importantly, why don't we notice them? They don't look rich. They don't talk about money online. They don't flex. They don't sell courses. In fact, if you passed them on the street, you'd probably underestimate them. These are the invisible winners. Researchers have studied them for decades. Thomas J. Stanley and William Danko documented them in The Millionaire Next Door. Their findings shocked people. Most millionaires live in ordinary neighborhoods, drive ordinary cars, and live far below their means. Not because they are cheap, but because they understand something most people don't. Wealth is not what you see. Wealth is what you don't spend. Here's the paradox. Flashy wealth demands attention. Real wealth avoids it. Why? Because attention invites comparison, pressure, and lifestyle inflation. Invisible winners optimize for freedom, not validation. They don't ask, what will people think? They ask, what gives me control over my time? Their biggest advantage is behavior. They don't earn dramatically more. They behave differently. Let's break it down. Wealth behavior number 1. Delayed reward is not painful to them. Most people feel pain when they delay pleasure. Invisible winners feel safety. They don't see saving or investing as sacrifice. They see it as buying time, buying options, and buying peace. This flips the emotional equation. The same action, saving, feels painful to one person and empowering to another. That difference is everything. They separate identity from income. Most people tie identity to income. Higher salary equals higher self-worth. Lifestyle equals proof of success. Invisible winners don't. They treat income as a tool, not a mirror. more. This protects them from status spending, emotional purchases, and comparison traps. They don't need money to signal intelligence or success. That confidence alone saves them thousands every year. Wealth behavior number 3. They expect boring. This one surprises people. Invisible winners expect slow progress, boring years, and no excitement. They are not chasing dopamine. They are chasing inevitability. James Clear explains this well. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Their system is boring and unstoppable. Here's the hard truth. These behaviors don't feel rewarding at first. No applause, no instant feedback, no visible success. Which means you must believe in a future you cannot yet feel. Most people can't. That's why the majority quit early, right before compounding begins. There is a moment in wealth building nobody talks about. The point where progress is still invisible but irreversible. If you quit before this line, nothing happens. If you cross it, outcomes change permanently. Most people quit weeks before this line, not because they failed, but because they got bored. Now we reach the core, the mindset shift that separates winners from everyone else. It's not hustle harder, wake up earlier, or grind more. It is this: stop trying to feel rich, start trying to become free. Feeling rich is emotional, freedom is structural. One disappears overnight, the other compounds silently. Smart people love intensity, big plans, dramatic changes, motivation spikes. But wealth is built by small decisions, repeated calmly, over long periods. Invisible winners don't rely on motivation, they rely on design. They design environments where saving is automatic, investing is default, and spending requires effort. They don't fight themselves daily, they remove the fight. At some point, you realize something uncomfortable. People who built wealth weren't smarter, they weren't luckier, they weren't even more disciplined, they just played a different game. While others chased comfort and status, they quietly accumulated control. This feels unfair until you understand it. Then it becomes available. Here is the truth nobody warns you about. If you don't consciously design your financial behavior, society will design it for you. And society optimizes for consumption, debt, and dependency, not freedom, not security, not peace. So here's the real question. Not how much do you earn, but how much of your future is already decided by today's habits. Because intelligence didn't save smart people, awareness might. Final takeaway: wealth is not built by people who work the hardest. It's built by people who behave differently when no one is watching. That is the entire game. And now, you can't unsee it. If this made you uncomfortable, good. That means it worked. This is Upgrow mindset. We don't chase money, we fix the thinking that controls